The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, says the vote of no confidence passed by the National Assembly on the Inspector General of Police is outside their purview. He gave this position while speaking during our current affairs program, The Call, saying the oversight powers conferred on the lawmakers cannot be open-ended. The spokesperson of the Senate, Senator Aliyu Abdullahi, who was also on the program, disagrees with him, insisting that the National Assembly acted in line with the Constitution.
If you look at the provision of Section 4 of the Constitution, alongside with the provision of Section 88 of the Constitution, I think the fundamental functions of the legislature, one is the lawmaking within the context and spirit of Section 4 of the Constitution, and then two, oversight. And the oversight functions that we are talking about is not open-ended, in all sincerity. If you are talking of oversight functions within the context of the workings of the ministries, departments, and agencies, the major consideration, the major responsibility of the National Assembly as it relates to oversight functions is the exposition, that is exposing corruption. That is the bottom line. So I cannot, in all sincerity, come to terms with the reality of declaration of a vote of no confidence against the IG, where to situate it within the context of the lawmaking responsibility of the National Assembly and within the context of exposing corruption. I think that is where we are missing the point, exceeding the bounds within the context of our respective responsibilities.
I don't agree with that, because that section says expose corruption, inefficiency, or waste in the execution or administration of laws within its legislative competence and in the disbursement or administration of funds appropriated by it. So it is not just the issue of corruption itself. And when you say inefficiency, what is the definition of inefficiency? It has to do with both processes, actions and inactions, and the like.
Okay.
And so for me, the bottom line is, I'm happy he has said we should operate within the context of the law. That is true, and all of us have to respect that.
Repeated disruptions to the Trans-Forcados oil route, as well as a fall in oil prices between 2016 and 2017, pose a challenge to business in Nigeria's oil sector. However, Seplat Petroleum Development Company PLC, a leading Nigerian independent oil and gas exploration company, has full-year profit in 2017. At its 5th annual general meeting in Lagos, the gas manufacturer also gave an interim dividend of 5 cents per share for the first quarter of 2018.
Shareholders are here to assess the company's performance for the year ended 2017. It's the 5th annual general meeting of Seplat Petroleum Development Company, PLC. Profit before tax stood at about $44 million, a vast improvement over what obtained in 2016. The biggest deviation in the full-year numbers came from the recognition of net tax credit of $221 million in Q4, lifting the net profit to almost $266 million. The company did not offer a dividend for 2 years, but announced an interim dividend of 5 cents per share for Q1 of 2018.
So that was a real commercial, financial, and operational force majeure. We had to suspend dividend. This interim dividend simply emphasized the fact that we have reinstated dividend going forward.
In spite of the pressure to shift to renewable energy, Seplat is optimistic that their business will remain relevant.
What everyone is doing is to make sure that the market is effectively balanced such that you don't have what you consider excessively depressed price or excessively higher price. But we're happy to say that the business is good. Fossil fuel will be there for quite some time to come, while of course all of us are embracing all of the good advantages of cleaner energy.
For the first time, Seplat developed an alternative route for gas using the Warri refinery in order to make up for the uncertainty of the Trans-Forcados export route. It is involved with the Amupe-Escravos pipeline, which is expected to be operational in Q3 of 2018. Seplat, which was moved to the premium board of the Nigerian Stock Exchange on April 16, 2018, says it will retain the flexibility and financial discipline which saw it emerge stronger from the crisis in the oil sector.
Future for the business to actually return to.
Time now for some business news where Olumide will be revealing out the numbers coming from Nigeria's trade balance.
You First. First Bank.
Thank you, Melinda. Nigeria has posted a 20.95% jump in its trade balance during the first 3 months of 2018 with a surplus of 2.175 billion naira, the first of such increase in 2 years. A new set of data released today by the National Statistics Office shows Nigeria total value of trade better by 19.74% over the last quarter of 2017. The strong growth of total trade in first quarter of this year was driven mainly by strong increase in exports, led by agricultural goods, massive 63.84% increase. Crude oil exports rose just 10%, solid minerals posted 12.96% on a quarterly basis, while raw material exports came in at 13.62%. Nigeria's total imports during the period increased 19.22% over the last quarter of 2017. The federal government says it's recovered about 30 billion naira from individuals and corporate establishments through the Voluntary Assets and Income Declaration Scheme known as VADES. 90% of that amount was realized by the Federal Inland Revenue Service, while the other 10% was recovered through the efforts of state governments. In a statement, the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosun, has also approved the issuance of declaration certificates to taxpayers who leverage the tax amnesty program. The certificate was unveiled midweek in Abuja and is customized for the tax authorities of the 36 states of the Federation with key security features. Earlier in March, the federal government extended the scheme by 90 days till June 30th, 2018, with a view to capture more taxpayers. And gains persisted at the stock market for the third consecutive session as investors continued to hunt bargains across major sectors. Uche Alauku has the trade summary.
Welcome to the Stock Market Report. Nigeria's equities markets continue to pick up strength for a third straight day. This time with a 1.53% jump in the all-share index with a year-to-date return of 0.50%. The gains are attributed to the price rally from 41 equities led by Fidelity Bank. 16 equities were not so lucky, and top on that list is Guinea Insurance. All the sectoral indices closed positive, particularly the industrial goods sector, which had the highest gains. Zenith Bank was the most actively traded stock for the day, with over 110 million units from a total of 393 million shares traded in 5,285 transactions. And that's today's Stock Market Report. I'm Uche Alauku.
Finally, markets across the globe moderated in performance midweek as investors bargained their presence in African markets. Let's show you some of the market trends of the day. That's it on Business News. Melinda will be back with the rest of the news at 10.
You First. First Bank.
Many thanks, Olumide. The Chinese consulate in Nigeria says more relations between China and Africa is essential, in line with its Africa Inclusion and Partnership Plan, starting with Nigeria and South Africa as the two biggest economies on the continent. This was revealed to a media delegation from Nigeria on a tour of Beijing. Our correspondent, Gimba Umar, is part of that team and has this report.
The streets of Beijing, the capital of China. Coming here for a first-time visitor may give the sense of extreme organization of a growing city. With 21.7 million people in Beijing, the city represents a fusion of old and contemporary Chinese culture, which dates back 5,000 years. A small meeting room with a select few Nigerian media representatives are here on the invitation of some of the parastatals in China. Here, the State Council Information Office, SCIO, is responsible for the control of information in and out of China. The office plays a crucial role in China's quest to open up its doors to Africa and demystify a socialist communist principle, which it says it wants to change in line with global trends. Like Africa, China shares similar challenges, which it hopes to overcome, especially poverty and migrant concerns.
The Hainan people, they sometimes, especially during the Spring Festival in the winter, they feel it's a little bit heavy burden of too many people there. So I don't know, I personally don't know how many Nigerian people are in Guangzhou or in Guangdong province. But I think it is in a comparatively amount which can be afforded by the local government. I think they will be treated very well as friends.
Boao Forum for Asia has 240 members drawn from 30 countries and is currently dealing with 23 organizations from 14 countries, whom it says have confirmed a robust media partnership and cooperation with big brands like the BBC, China Global Television Network, CGTN, Bloomberg, CNBC, and also hopes to have same in Africa. A rich cultural history of centuries past remains a hallmark of China's customs and tradition from the Qing and Ming dynasty. The people of Beijing and other cities are quick to showcase this in a kung fu display performed in the opera, an ancient story of a Chinese empress who fought her way up the Forbidden Mountain to get the herbs she needs to save the life of her sick lover and emperor. A resounding applause greets the end of the performance, to the delight of the audience. But outside, the concerns of a thriving economy lingers.
China has a population of 1.3 billion people, and the task of the government of the day is to take 40 million people out of poverty by the year 2020. How the president is going to do that, a lot of people will be watching. From Beijing, China, I am Gimba Umar reporting for Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, Nigeria's Super Eagles suffer a second successive defeat in the pre-World Cup friendlies, lose 1-0 to Czech Republic. That's on Sports News. Stay with us.